to accept it on behalf of all the football people in Sligo, because I know when we leave here today that football's in great hands. Funny, I was driving through, I had a terrible drive the other day, to drive from Tralee to Letterkenny and back to open a stand, and I was coming through Sligo. It's a long drive, 6.5 hours I can tell you, from Tralee up to Letterkenny. But I was caught by the beauty of the county when we looked at the mountains of Benbulben, Loch Arran, Lissadell House. I suppose we're here in Yates County. And football is very strong in this county as well, that shouldn't be forgotten. My first visit to Sligo, I think, was back in 1983 as a young lad. I saw 3 of those 4 great games, those absolutely magical cup semi-finals, now down in history. And I met Johnny Chadha for the first time. The first welcoming man when I travelled with my father was Johnny Chadha, a great football man in Sligo, a legend really in his own way. He passed away, I think, in 2008. But what a man he was. He always arrived at the showgrounds, a cup of tea ready for you, and he's discussed with my father how the game was going. That was my first introduction to Sligo many, many years ago. And of course, they went on to win the cup in 1983, that famous game against Bohemians, Tony Stenson and Harry McLaughlin scoring. And of course, 1994 beating Derry 2-1 or 1-0, whatever it was. And of course, last year will never be forgotten. Absolutely never be forgotten. Kieran Kelly from Ballinrobe making all those great saves. But I think the one striking memory I have from the Viva that day was the colour and the supporters. The colour and the good humour that the Sligo supporters brought to what was really a remarkable event. And it was important that the UEFA game was held here in the showgrounds. Very important. I remember as a young boy, Waterford played Manchester United at home in Dublin in a European Cup game. Now it was Manchester United, but a lot of people in Waterford never forgave Waterford for bringing the game to Dublin, because it's a big game, but ultimately your supporters come here week in, week out. So you can always go and move a game, but it's important that the supporters who follow you week in, week out see the team at home. And that was important to me, and I know important to the club. So to make the contribution was nothing to me. It was only my sense of showing a small bit of leadership to ensure that the public of Sligo could witness their team at home in Europe. And thankfully they did, irrespective of the result. They are a very, very good side, the Ukrainians, who played on that day. I mean, you've got great people involved in Sligo Rovers Football Club. Ray Gallagher is a great friend of mine. I've known Ray for many, many years. He's 43 now, but I must know Ray 15, 16 years from serving on council. Been a great supporter of mine, somebody who I've a lot of time for. Michael Toolan, the chairman, I know Michael a good number of years. A good chairman doing great work. And of course, Vincent Nally. A request from Vincent Nally is like he's serving the High Court subpoena. He'll always ask for money, but he's a great treasurer in that regard. He's a good man. And in Sligo we've got a great development officer, Ryan Casey. It's very important to me, Mary, you mentioned grassroots playing football, but that's what it's about, because when we build a house, we build the foundations first. The chimney will always arrive at the end of the day, but if you start with a chimney, you'll never build a house. So building the game is very simple. Get the foundations right, get the grassroots right, getting kids active in sport, taking kids away from social issues like obesity, alcohol abuse, drug usage. In particular, getting girls active in sport, that's important to me. I'm a father of twins, a boy and a girl, they're 8 years of age. It's important to me that she has the same opportunity to play sports as my son. Vital, absolutely vital. I want to commend Fionnuala Monaghan in the league here. She's doing terrific work in terms of getting girls active in sport. And what you really do is getting kids away from playstations onto playing fields. Some people are lucky to play for Ireland. You see some of them tonight in under 21s, or tomorrow night when we play in the Viva. I see the Sligo players, Conor, who's a great footballer. Everyone has the right to play at his or her highest level, but everyone has the right to play. Everyone has the right to play. And I told the story, and I'll tell it again quickly, about my best moment in life was when my son, I promised him I'd bring him soccer training. I told a few here the last day we were here. But I promised him one night going up to Monaghan I would bring him soccer training. It was a good idea at the time, it's about 6 o'clock, and we were driving up to Monaghan to open a pitch, and when you ride back to Waterford at 4 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't sound a great idea when you're getting up quite early, a couple of hours later. And at 8:15, 8:20, you're lying asleep in bed, and the apparition arrives in the tracksuit. You know, said, "Daddy, bring me training." You're saying, "Would you not ask your mother, please?" Thankfully, I didn't. I got out of bed and I brought him training that morning. It's the morning he scored his very first goal. When he scored, he ran to me with a beautiful smile, 10 feet away. Ran straight across, a lovely hug. We photographed quite a bit, but there was no camera there that day. But if I close my eyes this moment, I can still see it. Absolutely brilliant moment. Absolutely fantastic. But it taught me a number of things, because if I'd come a week later, I wouldn't have seen his first goal, because you've noticed the first goal once. And my message to any parent afterwards was, it's great for the kids to play, absolutely brilliant for the kids to play. But it's even better as a parent to watch your kids play. But the best of all is when you encourage your kids while they play. That's the most important thing. very, very vital. Now, we helped inspire that, I told that as well. Because in Wexford I told that story and came up after and said my father followed me for 20 years to see my first goal and still waiting to see it, which I thought was very harsh. Partnership's important. I wrote this word down because working in tougher times these days, it's very hard to row a boat on your own, but you're always better to row together. Because if you row together, you get there quicker. And of course, we have this mini pitch, which is one Sligo Town Council, one of the very first supporters of a mini pitch program, with 65 of them now in the country. And that is really using local authority money, FAI money, department money, European money to build pitches for 10 different sports so now kids get active. So partnership is important. And today is an example of that really, I think. I want to compliment the Sligo Leitrim Schoolboys Leagues, Paul Hines, who's secretary of both Sligo and of course the league. I want to compliment John O'Donoghue, who's the incoming chairperson. They won the under-15 Umbro Cup down in Salt Hill this week, so last weekend, that's a huge achievement. The Junior League are doing great work. Noel Kennedy, I see Teresa McCabe, and Teresa is of course involved in Special Olympics, but we're very proud of Teresa because she's the first chairperson of Connacht, lady chairperson of Connacht, and is also vice chairperson of the FAI Junior Council. They're indeed are great honours, and I'm back in Sligo at the end of the month to commemorate that as well, so it's my third visit to Sligo in 4 weeks, and I'm very happy about that. And when you look at Sligo, there's 56 clubs, 135 teams, and almost 3,000 registered players. That's a phenomenon. So in a very quiet way, football does its stuff really effectively in this county, no doubt about that. Produce great players, David Pugh, Tony Fagan, who will ever forget Tony Fagan, the beard, Tony Stenson scoring the goal, your own son Connor, what a footballer. I'm not just saying that because you're here, Mayor, but what a footballer. And of course the great Sean Fallon who managed with Jock Steen. So in closing, I suppose today's a football day, isn't it? I was very lucky as a young lad. I grew up with a guy called Shea Brennan who won a European Cup medal with Manchester United. Was the first English-born player to play for Ireland. After the Munich air crash, he scored 2 goals in the very first game when they beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-0. He came to stay in our house for a weekend. He stayed 6.5 years, would you believe it? He was the room beside me. And on a Saturday morning in West Tipperary, where I grew up, in around Holy Cross in County Rossmore, I delivered bread with him through Thurles. Can you imagine delivering bread with a European Cup medal? Stephen Gerrard, Paul Scholes, David Beckham delivering bread. Wouldn't happen today. So it was a real honour for me. And as a young boy, I was brought to Manchester United. I met Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, George Best. I drank with George Best when I was 15. Wasn't the first or the last to drink with George Best, God rest him. But they were the people I met as a young lad. So it instilled in me a love for the game. And I've always said this about anybody involved in football. You either love the game or you don't. It's either in you or it's not. You can't bluff it. If I was speaking about horse racing, I couldn't talk about it today. When it comes to football, I love it. And I see a lot of great football people around here today who love it. And what we're going to see tonight, it's very important. We left a funeral this morning, and thank you for allowing us to come later than we had expected to do. Good man Tommy Hand. And I went to visit him in hospital last Monday. Very, very ill, but I saw his grandchildren there, his 2 grandsons, who were present at the time, his sons. And it really struck me that you hand the baton over. Tommy's baton was handed to his son, to his grandson. You'll see it in these chambers, the mayor's baton gets handed on. You'll see it in football. Footballers hand on the baton. And tonight what we're witnesses the footballers who will come to play for Ireland next time round, because tomorrow night's a senior game. But as some stage of players we see tonight will take the baton to represent their country. So thank you once again. It's always a pleasure to come to Sligo. It's been a lovely reception. Please come in and look at it tonight.